Hi there, this is Darla, and I wanted to record a video sharing with you a little bit from my new book, Shift the Field. Oh my gosh. And I was creating a meeting of my promotional partners for the book, and I wanted to give them a little insight into what was in the book, and I felt really drawn to share this particular section with them. And I got a lot of great feedback and stories from people of their own experience here. So I wanted to share this with you as well. Bear with me as I read, and also I'm reading my own words, so it's kind of weird, but I'm going to get used to it. It's called the validation paradox. And within the book, you can see it's just past halfway. And it is in the chapter that's called Rise. So the premise of the book is shifting the field from default energy to sourced energy, from old, heavy, outdated belief-based energy to fully created, alive energy. And so the rise is where we're starting to rise into this new energy space. And one of the steps of that is validation. So if you've ever taken coach training, you probably learned about validation, right? As a skill to receive and validate and affirm what your client has experienced. And yet sometimes validation it's like the most beautiful tool ever, and sometimes it can be unhealthy. So I'm going to share a little bit about this paradox. I cannot complete this chapter without sharing something I call the validation paradox. This concept is key to building a healthy business with self-sufficient clients who value your contribution while staying in their own power. As you know, a paradox is an idea that is seemingly contradictory, yet may also be true. My entire goal is to support clients to live sourced, which means they trust their own inner knowing above any external ideas or advice for what is true. In other words, they're healthy humans who don't need the validation of other humans to move forward in their lives. That's what we're going for, right? And yet, here I am teaching you that validation is a necessary step in our transformation journey. It feels like a head scratcher, right? It's not actually surprising that this should be true. Many of the most profound concepts in life are paradoxical. It's how we work within the paradox that matters. And so let's go back to that Kurt Wright quote. As human beings, we cannot accept a part of ourselves that we have not shared with another human being and had validated rather than violated. For all humans, there's a point, often before the age of 7, when our discerning, conscious mind is not yet fully formed, that our natural self-expression is violated. If it weren't for the hurt we endure at the hands of other humans, we would not need other humans to validate these same expressions to heal. But because other humans hurt us, often unknowingly, we need other humans for our healing. We actually need other humans to discover that we only ever needed our own validation. That's the paradox, right? I have 2 tattoos. The first one was given to me as a vision in a yoga class. I didn't know what the symbol meant, but as I worked with the designer to create it, I discovered its meaning. And I got it stamped on my body the day after I left my corporate job. And it was a clear foreshadowing to my life's work. The center is orange, which is my favorite color, and represents my creativity and uniqueness. The orange is surrounded by a series of interlocking spirals of various colors, representing the interconnectedness of humanity to each other and to me. The overarching idea for me is that we, as individuals, must be in full ownership of who we are, and we must do this alone. We are responsible for our lives. Yet we cannot exist except in relationship to others. So we cannot become who we are here to be without them. The validation paradox is a very real aspect of becoming a fully actualized human. We need to become ourselves with the support of others. Along this path, however, we will often choose the wrong people to support us. We will create dysfunctional or codependent relationships. We will look for approval from people who can't or won't give it, or whose approval is conditional to us, is conditional to us being who they want us to be, rather than who we are. However, we can trust that all these times when we lacked true discernment are a part of our sourced experience in life. The people and experiences we attracted were guides leading us back to our truth. Don't make them wrong, but don't fall asleep. The world of coaching is not exempt from these codependent patterns. Many people become coaches because they're seeking to fulfill their ego's need to be right, to be special, to be in control, or to have power over others, consciously or unconsciously, right? For a client who's in their default energy, these unhealthy patterns may feel like a match and be perpetuated throughout the coaching relationship. I've gone through this myself. I worked with a coach for over 3 years before realizing I was still in my default energy pattern of beyond reproach, which I talk about earlier in the book. I was seeking her approval for everything I did and even found myself doing things that weren't soul aligned to gain her approval. During this time, I was still creating external results. From the outside, it looked like the relationship was working. However, my internal experience was one of moving further and further away from my sourced expression. Once again, I had been more than willing to give up my power, and this coach was more than willing to take it. Just like my ex-husband did when he took the drill out of my hands that day many years ago. One day, I realized that none of my coach's clients were ever more successful than she was. Suddenly, I could see how she subtly undermined the confidence of her clients to create a sense of neediness within them, a feeling that they couldn't be successful without her. She had brilliant strategies for helping her clients make money so that she would look good, but not so much that they would threaten or surpass her. Her most successful clients were also the most stressed and unhealthy because they were being pushed to operate like her instead of like themselves. This toxic experience is unfortunately all too common. Don't be that coach. Do your inner work so you are confident coming from source in your approach with clients. Trust their inner wisdom without inserting your own need to be loved or validated by them. Validation should always be in service of independence, not codependence. When you validate your clients, remember it is about legitimizing their own thoughts and beliefs. It is not about you validating their decisions and expressions because you like or prefer them. Leave ample space for their expression to be different from yours. Let them discover desires that belong uniquely to them. Most of all, let them outgrow you, out-earn you, and step fully into their own glory. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm curious your experience with the validation paradox. Have you ever given your power over to someone who was an expert or authority in favor of their approval? Or if you want to get really honest, have you ever been that person who was willing to take it? I know for me, this was modeled, right? So it was like someone's coming to you, you should have an answer. But having the answer isn't necessarily your job if your work is transformation, right? So I'm curious what you've seen, what you've experienced, and how you maybe have given power away, taken power, and how you've restored this equilibrium so we can all live more sourced. Put your comments below. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you soon.